subscribe.
The Angry Ops Guy Podcast.
I'm the angry ops guy, hanging by a thread, living on Prozac, the mess from my head, jaded and burned out, ADHD and overdrive, manager life, running on a wire, I love it, I hate it, I'm past repair, the angry ops guy, just another day.
Welcome back to the Angry Ops Guy podcast. Ops Mike here. This week I have another guest, and I'm very excited to have her on. I have Cynthia Mordecai, the Chief Operating Officer and partner of WSI Smart Marketing out of California. Cynthia has been one of my friends for over 5 or 6 years now, since I formally got introduced to her at a convention about 2019 or so. And from 2019 to now, she is literally pushing her way up the ladder to run Ryan Kelly's franchise as the key integrator of his business. And Cynthia, thanks so much for coming on. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, doing good. And man, I can't believe it's been, when you even said 5-6 years ago, I can't believe it's been that long.
Can you
Time's
believe
just
that?
flown
Like,
by.
I remember
Yeah.
meeting you in the pool.
Yeah. Best way to meet. Pool, hanging out, talking about all the things, ops and work. Best way to learn. That was probably my favorite way to get to know you and some other people on the network and just pick your brain, because I think you're brilliant.
Oh, I paid
Yeah.
her to be on the podcast, by the way. No, you set some context. I shouldn't just say, "Oh, we met in the pool." What does that mean to people who don't understand
Yeah.
that? So maybe we can start there for a moment. Cynthia and I met in 2019 at the WSI Global Convention, which was the first one, which was at an all-inclusive in Cancun, Mexico. And she was there. And at that time, I had not gone to a ton of the conventions other than the local ones. And that was when a bunch of us ops people were fortunate to go. Ryan brought Cynthia, Jason and Denise Gervais at the time from Web ROI, WSI Milton. They brought Denise Bowen. And here I am coming in from Peter's agency. So, remember, I met you in the pool, and here you are with your mom. Your mom came too, and I'm sure there's a story there. And from there, we've built a friendship over the last 6-7 years. But more importantly, with that is not at all just how we got to know each other, but you have really moved up the ladder, and I mean that with the utmost respect. And I don't want to say a short amount of time, but you have really moved up from the person that I met at that time being an ops person. But obviously Ryan's vision in you of where your potential and where your future will be in the sense of strengthening and stabilizing his agency further as he continues to be the visionary and you are the integrator. So, I think it's really important to reflect on. So maybe if you don't mind, give us just a kind of a quick update from that time of who you were and what your role was to where you are now, Miss Chief Operating Officer / partner. By the way, I'm not happy with you about that because number one, I took Chief Operating Officer to distinguish myself. Denise is president.
I know.
Jack
I'm just
was managing director. And then all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, I'll take that. And then let's bolt on partner at the end of it to make me look small. So thank you.
trying to keep up with you guys. So
But tell us about your kind of journey from, again, you've been part of, like you told me, you've been part of WSI and Ryan's franchise for 9 years now, going on 10 years.
Yeah.
So you're coming up on a major milestone, but kind of quickly tell us like how you moved up the ladder to being a chief operating officer and now a partner of Ryan's tenured agency.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. And I'm pretty sure in 2019, I was an account manager at the time. Because if that was 7 years ago, I was an account manager. And it's been, so now I guess I've been in every seat, where at the time joined where it was Ryan, his parents, Ken and Judy, so founding partners, and his brother, Brandon. So there was 5 of us, close knit. And, when I got hired, my job was, you need to take care of our clients, right? Ryan was out there getting business. And so what we were lacking was the account management, client delivery, systems, processes, and the way that my brain is wired. I love a challenge. So I was given the opportunity to say, hey, main job, take care of clients, but also if you can work on some systems. And so as I was working on that, realized, we didn't have any, everything was manual, Excel, and it worked at the time, right? It was a one person team in terms of me, account management. And then they started working. We needed to hire another account manager. Then we needed someone else. So then we created a social media division. Then the need of managing people. So became marketing director. And then also realized as I was working on our systems, what worked for me for one person, 2, 3 people, 4 people, no longer worked. So then I started working through that. So going from account manager to marketing director to then operations and working with Ryan on running the agency. It's been quite a journey. And I think I have to say that also who I was in 2019, like it's interesting reflecting back because I just feel like mindset wise, I was a very different person. Went through what I like to call my mental development leadership program called 75 Hard. I know you know about it. I've talked about it. There's some people in the network that have done it, but it was quite, talk about the reason why it's so hard. It completely transformed you more on a, I would say mentally. And I do credit that for part of this journey because with that, I grew more confident. I started reading more and just working again on personal, professional development. And that allowed me to continue taking on challenges. We had a lot of team turnover. And so with that, I could have just given up. But part of that was, this is part of the process. It is supposed to be a challenge. Continue to build, stay with it, remain loyal. So all that was just a huge part of also this journey, and why I believe I've progressed is because of that. And also having the support of the team and really Ryan, he's been my partner in all this and a mentor. So for him and his parents to give me the opportunity, and it's been a great ride. But yeah, it's been interesting. We've had some interviews this week and I've been talking about my background and that journey, and it's just fun to reflect back on that. Not easy, fun, not easy, but still part of it.
Well, you also look at it from the inside out, right? And
Yeah.
someone like me is on the outside. I have the misfortune of only seeing you, if I'm lucky, once a year in person. And we do our best to keep in touch on a regular cadence on one-on-ones. And we have our ops mastermind with others like Denise and Christine and so forth. But again, someone like me who, I've been this year, if my math is right, April 1st, I'll be 17 years with Commandex. So I'm an old fart now.
But that's awesome. That's such a rare commitment these days, to be loyal to a company like that too.
Loyal or stupid? No, but what I mean by that, specific to you is I've kind of seen you grown up, and we're different in age by a few years, and that doesn't matter. But like you said, meeting an account manager, I didn't even know your title at the time, but an account manager, and like I said, 6 or 7 years, and moving into basically leading operations, then kind of VP of operations, then moving into the COO/partner role. And again, I'm not here to disclose your age, nor are you, but you're not even 40 years old. That what I mean by that is that's a tremendous testament to your work ethic and what you've demonstrated to Ryan and his family in that executive leadership to want to invest in you and also have the respect and peace of mind that they feel as they get older and they start to transition out of day-to-day operations with time and everything, like many of these franchise owners, that their agency is going to be in good hands. That's very similar to Neil Lappy with Chris Leone and his business as his right-hand man. I hope that I'm that for Peter, obviously, and what he trusts in me to do, and our mutual friend, Denise Bowen, the badass of Jason and Denise Gervais' agency, and they have entrusted in her the same type of autonomy to move the business forward. But like, you have just skyrocketed that, and I'm so pleased for you. And I also think you're a little dumb. You made the mistake of moving out of account management into ops and then into further leadership, because all your life is going to be now is stress, P&L, and hiring and firing situations, which is all the stuff that any agency owner says they hate. And now it's your problem to deal with. So you should have just stayed with an account manager, because there was a start and end. You just said, bring on pain. 75 strong. I'm tough.
I know. And part of it, like, it is a challenge. But I oddly love it in a way. And I'm sure I'm sure you can relate. And there's certain days that are tougher than others, and staffing can be quite challenging. And I think the leadership, people management is one of the toughest. And there's you can learn about it, you can read about it, but that's one of the hardest things. Is you have different they're humans and personalities, and adjusting per person. So even though as ops people, we're so systematic, like that's something that I've had to learn in leadership, in sort of this gray area of not everyone's the same. Everyone has different learning styles. And it is something to, yes, work towards mastering, but it's always something to improve. And so that constant challenge, again, I think because I'm wired that way, I enjoy it. But yeah, I don't know why I keep signing up for these hard things. I guess it's just, but it's fun.
You know what I think it is. Maybe I'm not going to say this for you, but I'm wondering if you align or agree with this, because like you said, it's like, why do we keep chasing more? And I'm not saying more in the sense of money or title, but more is in or leadership and responsibility and the accountability for the big picture. I think what it is for us growing something, like truly growing something. The challenge of how am I going to get there? Like, someone like Ryan or Peter or whatever, they say, this is the target. I'm the boss, I'm the owner. I want to hit X. We need to hit Y. We need to chop this by Z. And how are we going to do it? And that's the puzzle that we have to figure out in 365 days until the fiscal year rolls over. And I think, we're wired, Denise included, Christina Pilarski, another powerhouse, is to attack and not be complacent with that, and through the goods and bads, but see that progress. So it's not the progress of a project anymore, a progress of just an SEO performance of an account. It's the progress of saying, can I build this business to be sustainable and take it to the next level for Ryan, for Peter, and through pain, suffering, and challenge comes that true growth, right? And look, life and business is about survival skills, and you have to learn in the trenches to be able to navigate the ocean, as I say. So that's what I think it is like, and also one more thing before I want you to kind of jump in and say, do you agree? Or Mike, you're out to lunch in bonkers, is the unpredictability.
Yeah.
I like the fact that every day of my career and my job, I don't necessarily know what's going. You always have a plan of what you want to get done, but there's something new to tackle every day. It's not like a box factory where a box comes, folds, tape, and then go. Every day your brain is stimulated trying to figure something out. And I think that for people whose minds need to be stimulated, that's what you crave versus, oh my God, I'm so, dropping a box. And you're just like, I'm not wired to spend 8 or 10 hours doing the same repetitive task. So that's my perspective. What do you think from your side? Am I right, or is it different for you?
I mean, I agree, because this, like right now, as I was saying, that there's always every day, while yes, I have my routine and there's workflows and things I need to do, I like that stability and that consistency in the role. But being in this position, there is something that comes up almost every day that kind of keeps me on my toes. And I think that sort of also continues to sharpen or kind of have an edge to it. To your point on, if it was just the same thing every day, that mundaneness, that could be a challenge. There's a part of that I do enjoy, and I think there's a lot of success in the boring. but the piece to the complexity levels now of the challenges that we deal with, it's something that I'm still learning, that I'm still need to work and, talk to colleagues like you, like Denise, with business coaches, with Ryan. That does allow me to continue to grow and then also help the agency. And also to your point on, you said earlier, same things for the inside out. Part of sort of really working on leadership and doing some reflection on my strengths and my weaknesses and opportunities, almost like a SWOT on myself, is figuring out like, what am I good at? What am I great at? What am I passionate about? And what are my blind spots? Because I also need to be aware of what I'm not good at. And that's where Ryan and I work so well together, because we are such yin and yang and quite the opposite. Him visionary, me integrator. So learning that I like to, one of my personal passions, which I have found just helping people grow to that next level, sort of on a, whether it's personal or professional, it's all the same to me. I feel like we're multifaceted, but I love seeing, and that's why I love working with our team, because I love seeing them grow, them progress, them when they first started to seeing them a year later. So helping individuals, and then from a business perspective, now getting to do that with, yes, our clients and businesses and their brands, but our business and our fulfilling our mission. And really from the inside out, how do I better improve this agency so we have better systems, so we can scale sustainably? Like, I have found that I was born to do this. I love business operations, learning about it, and I don't even know all of it. I'm still learning. But yes, I mean, again, to answer your question, I agree. And I think knowing that I have this purpose to do this, like, that's what brings me fulfillment in this role, in this agency. Again, very hard. Not everyone's meant to work in an agency setting in life, but
very, very true.
Right? I know you've talked about that in the past, and I agree. Not everyone is meant to do this. We like it for some reason, but it's fun. I have found, I know we both operate on EOS. We started that, I want to say almost 2 years ago. And that has really changed, because again, I know most people start EOS if you integrate that business framework into your business. I think once you hit around 10, like 9, 10 employees. So I just found in moving into this role that we were missing. So while we had systems in place and SOPs and all these things, there was still something missing. And so when, I forget who introduced that, someone in the network, maybe it was you, we were talking about traction, book, reading it. And that really has been a game changer for the agency on keeping us accountable, more transparency, hitting these goals. And that definitely in the last couple of years has just shifted the way we operate in the business, the way we meet, the way we do, our quarterly conversations, people, process, data, right? All those components of it. Which again, as an integrator, Ryan having that vision, me figuring out, okay, how do we execute this? So that's been another piece that I've really enjoyed learning about, and still have a lot to learn about that system. But yeah, that's been just a huge system to implement too. Monster of a.
I think I did. I do remember talking to you early on with that, because we adopted EOS about 5-6 years ago. And I had done a couple of speaking things, just like on, Zoom meetings with the WSI network with the Top Guns and other people on EOS themes, when WSI as a network was really trying to standardize that as best practices, which I'm the biggest advocate that every agency, no matter size and scale, should have that. Yeah. But I remember talking to you about that, and you had mentioned, like, we've been, thinking about it. And so we talked more on the operations side, you and I, and how we talk. And then I remember Ryan was also evaluating it, and forgive me if I'm wrong here. And if I'm wrong, we'll edit it out. But did you and Ryan join one of our EOS L10s to get
Yeah.
So, okay. So I don't have Alzheimer's yet.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure you were what, if not, I'm trying to think if we sat in anyone else's. I think you were the first person that offered one of you guys sit in our L10 meeting and observe. And I just remember being in that meeting like, oh my gosh, this is so organized. They're getting through things, right? The scorecards, and then like, boom, go into issues. Such an effective
Well,
meeting. And
God love you, because at that time it was probably a dumpster fire and you just thought it was amazing because
I thought it was amazing.
I remember back in those days and how many things I did wrong. But the funny aside, the point is that practical representation for you and Ryan basically solidified, no matter how different our agencies are and our goals and our processes per se, that was like the check mark for both of you saying, got it now. I see the value of this. Now we got to figure out how to implement this for us because it will make us better with time. And I love something you just said there. You were talking about what EOS in your reflections has done for you as an operations manager and now chief operating officer. But for someone as disciplined and mentally strong as you are, and going back to, like you said, you put yourself through 75 strong, and that's a mental game of, making sure the mind is tough. But you're a very disciplined person. Like I'm me and Eric are 5 a.m. gym guys. And you're like, no, you big lugs. My little self is in here pushing more weight than you at 3:30 in the morning. Like you are astronomically disciplined and you are relentless with that. So my point being is, and I'm not making fun of it. I'm proud of you. And I'm like, I've said this to you, I admire that you can do that because I am not putting down the bag of chips to try to, strengthen my mind. I'm not doing it.
Hey, whenever I have a Cool Ranch Doritos, I think of you. I still have them from time to time, and I always think of you. I'm like,
that's great. When I die, and you fly up to Toronto for my funeral, you're gonna sprinkle some Cool Ranch Doritos, saying, "Oh, he was a decent ops guy." And here, Mike, go with some calories.
There you go.
Like,
yeah,
come on.
That'll be it.
I really have to change my rapport with the people that I love and care about.
It's so funny though. That's my favorite flavor too. Always has been. It's great.
Atta girl. That's why we're friends.
Yeah.
But going back to talking about the discipline and the punchline I'm trying to get to is, for someone that is personally as disciplined in life as you are, that is absolutely what you crave in business life. So EOS has allowed you to build further discipline for the agency and providing structure, just like you have adopted and built for yourself in life. And so it's almost like a seamless integration for you in the sense of adopting it now, because that's how you are, versus other people that are very naive or even just stressed about implementing it, because it is a massive upheaval of everything and how you do things. And you got to rip it right down to the skeleton and really do some soul searching in the business as to the problems. And nobody likes change, right? It's uncomfortable. But yeah. I think that really, I think just in how you reflect on yourself and what I know of you, that really clicks for you, because it's like, I know how to do this personally. So, if we can leverage it there, it's just an extension of who I am, and I can amplify it to help the agency. And look at where you are in a mere 3 or 4 years and what you guys are doing now with your EOS implementation. And again, you're never going to have it perfect, and none of us do, but you've got foundational process in place that drives the business for accountability and a better way to look at the business versus subjectivity, which is the biggest things I take out of EOS.
Yeah, and that's part of it. I mean, that system has boundaries and discipline and sort of these guardrails, and that's something that we were missing before that maybe we were doing sometimes. But I think that's part of it, is doing things sometimes and allowing things to go through, but there was no real systematic approach to it to say, okay, we need to be disciplined about our margin targets. We need to stay disciplined around any targets we set in our VTO, the Vision Traction Organizer, right? Our business plan. And I realized that in order for us to get to that next level for us as an agency, there's a matter of, yes, some gray area on some things, but for the most part, the philosophy of we need to stay disciplined. We need to each be held accountable to our goals. Yes. And I've been fortunate that because that's what I love doing, and that discipline piece It's not easy to do because it's working with the leadership team and saying, hey guys, like we agreed to this. We all need to be on the same page around, these targets, these numbers, and think of a few moves ahead to say, okay, this is where we said we want to be in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. If we want to get there, like we have to maintain discipline. So yeah, to your point, it's something that when I learned about it, because I am wired that way, it was something that I saw that could really help the agency, the individuals within our business, right, to help them grow and help them succeed. So it took a while though too, because there's so much around it. It's a monster of a system to put in place. So us needing to learn it first is from sort of at the top with management. And we have found now, because there were sometimes we questioned it on, we're kind of doing this already. Do we really need to do this and have it be so systematic? But I knew in talking with you and other WSI ICs and that, yes, like continue it. And now 2-3 years later, like we're seeing the progress and seeing the results from sticking with it. So
that's the key right there, is what you said, is sticking with it. You are going to make so many mistakes. I'm talking more for the people listening. You're going to make so many mistakes as you trial things and try to implement things, but stick to the course and continue to layer on improvements. I cannot tell you how many mistakes I've made since Peter told us, Mike, you need to start adopting EOS for the agency with me. But it's refinement over mistakes.
Right.
You're refining, learning, building better data. Like you said earlier, people is just one of the hardest things for an ops manager / chief operating officer to manage, because it's the unknown of the unpredictability of humans. But right. How do you grow as a person to understand how to get the most out of your staff based on what they're capable of? Knowing, that you can't just robotically attack everybody the same way and push them. So which levers to pull, how to incentivize, how to build goals for them, and so forth. So that's all part of the process, but also how to understand what the agency needs, so that you're not dependent on people, right? You
right.
have the seats and the roles that you need, but you are not dependent on an individual because those people will come and go. They will challenge you for money. They will get poached. And how do you build this? I love what you said, this, I call it a foundation. How do you have this foundation that, especially in marketing, that, the industry can be volatile, economic can be volatile, people can be volatile, but if the foundation is strong, then the business keeps moving forward, because then it's just adapting to what comes next in any of those buckets. And right. I think that's really what sums up EOS in the sense of building that system, no matter size and scale, and just adopting, again, those disciplines and those principles, so that you are eliminating the subjectivity and, like you keep pounding home, the processes and the systems necessary to run a business, no matter what scale and size.
Yeah, because, on your point on, we're a digital marketing agency, there's so much shifting every day right now, with one of the biggest shifts with AI. For us, we need to have right people, right seats. And part of when we re-looked at our core values, we found that growth mindedness was one of them. Like, you have to be, if you have that fixed mindset, like, we're definitely going to have the wrong person in our agency. Who SEO is changing, AI is here. We're going to need to essentially revamp almost all of our workflows. There's all new tactics we need to deploy. Like, we need to have people who are in seats, who have the mentality of being growth minded and saying, like, all right, let's go. Like, so let's figure this out. Let's build it together. And if someone isn't, and they're saying, well, well, hold on, what do you mean? We have to change our processes? Like, so that has also helped us during the interview process. I just mentioned earlier, we're going through hiring right now. And that's one of the main things we're looking at, is really hiring on our core values, because everything else kind of falls into that. For them, if they're going to do the job well, for us to deliver on our clients, for us to succeed as an agency, you have to embody those. So again, that's where EOS also helped us, because we had these core values before. They're very corporate-y, didn't have a lot of sort of life behind them. They were good, but we really looked at the DNA of our team and who were the high performers and what makes us who we are. And that's really helped also drive us in bringing on the right people to our team, which has changed everything as well, because then better performance with clients again, better retention, and then better team satisfaction too, because we're all on that same align on those same values. So
You make such a good point with that. Like we were very much the same, right? That those kind of corporate mindset core values, because it's like I don't think we value. I don't want to say we didn't value, but let's say didn't understand the absolute importance of what core values really are, because they are, used to be worded in a way that is just like we do this and we do that, and it's just like okay, great. But you're absolutely right. It's like if you're going to build a culture and you're going to build an agency that clients, partners, and employees want to grow with, and the key word here is partner, then they have to align with your core values. So if you don't understand your core values and how to articulate them, then nothing else matters. And so we had to do the same thing. Like we built the first set of core values when EOS mandated, and we tried our best at the time. And in the last year or two, with Peter's help and so forth, we revamped them, because I sat there after doing 555 meetings, which are quarterly performance reviews for people that don't know, and so forth, is even our staff was like, what does this even mean? I don't know how to articulate this in what we're talking about when we look at the different things quarter over quarter. And I'm sitting there going, if they don't understand it, and then frankly, I don't really understand it, then is it any beneficial to us? Everything else flows, through that. So, what I did, for example, is I interviewed Peter. I put him on camera because we're remote. And I said, no, I'm just going to record this. And Peter doesn't like to be on camera like that. He doesn't like to be recorded and so forth, but he speaks very well. And I said to him, you have 25 years of owning and facilitating your agency. What do these core values mean to you? And I just let him talk. I recorded it all. And then I recorded a session on my own of what I felt from my lens, which is, again, like you said, the Jekyll and Hyde between me and Peter, you and Ryan. I gave my perspective of what's important for the future and what I believe in, because I'm an integral piece. And then guess what? I worked with AI to look at the patterns, the similarities, the differences, to help me figure out 5 to 6 core values that would truly tailor between his legacy and his ownership, my steps to move forward. And I took some feedback from a couple other key team members and bridged that. And I built these. I sent them to Peter, and he's like, I don't have a single change. This is brilliant. But the thing was, it wasn't AI spit out a bunch of vomit. It was using it simply to analyze us and say, how do we make these stronger? Because the passion comes in the words, but sometimes we can't articulate it. So I couldn't agree with you more. And I feel so good about our core values now, because if there is anybody on the team that does not align with those core values, and that includes also clients you're trying to bring on, then they don't have a place in your ecosystem.
Oh, yeah. And we've seen that whenever there's a time where we evaluate, I forget what part was it, the people analyzer piece of EOS, whenever we've seen, and this is where it helps again with EOS, that before, when we didn't have this, without a system, it was somewhat subjective, and we feel like this person is this. So having more of just making it more objective, seeing it on paper is very much more of an eye opener than just feelings. So whenever we have some sort of issue, if we're going through this people analyzer, we see one that's missing, either I think you put plus sign if it's all the time, negative if it's not all the time, and plus minus if it's sometimes. When we see that trend of either sometimes or the not happening, one missing, and it's already a gap, and we start to see issues either with that individual or just it's like starting to feel like you can just feel it. And we're such a close, there's 9 of us, right? So we're such a close-knit team. So we'll feel that gap if someone's not is either weak in a core value, not aligning, maybe once was and now isn't, which can happen too. So it's a huge piece, and something that, again, EOS really allowed us to, like, to your point, refine that and also take action on it through how we hire, through how we train our team, how we develop them, and how every day we lead through example with them in conversations and how we resolve issues with clients. And also, you had mentioned how you bring on clients too. We try and do the same thing, right? Trying to get clients that align with those core values, because we want to build, we don't want to be just a vendor. We want to create that partnership to say, hey, we're here to work together. We're your partner in this business, and, you know, your marketing partner, and not just a line item on there.
You better believe it, you know, and also what's important to understand about that is, you know, our agencies are not 20, 30 people. They are less than 10 people, you know, with strategic partnerships and suppliers in the WSI network, or local people that, depending on the needs and stuff. But, you know, to your point, when you only have, you know, 5, 6, 7 people navigating, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in gross revenue, you know, everybody has to work as a team. Truly, there is no room in the, like, the corporate mindset of there's a floor of people and, you know, 10 people can hide just because it's too dense of people and they don't know who does what. Everybody wears multiple hats in a digital marketing agency and in small business. And to your point, you've got to trim the fat. And to your point, do they want it? Do they get it? And can they do it? And if those don't line up, then you know, what our business coach at the time, shout out Christina Italia if she listens, which she doesn't, but she was a big advocate for me. Love her. She said, she goes, they will either see themselves out immediately because they will know they're exposed because you're putting in structure, or it's on the radar for you and ownership to say, well, what's the plan here to either give them a chance to pick up their socks, or they're going to have to go, because that's how you have to be operationally efficient. So, you know, everything you've said there matches up. And one more thing, because I want to shift gears out of EOS, because EOS doesn't pay us to talk this much about it. We're going to get a sponsorship. I promise you on that. I actually met a wonderful lady for EOS at a trade show, and she's like, I'm going to listen to the podcast. She's like, this is amazing. So listen again, please. And share out there, Brett. But what I want to give you another piece of credit is, it was either you or Ryan or both of you after that L10 meeting that you came and watched. And you said to me on a session or whatever, it's like, Mike, do you have any advice for us for where to start?
Right.
And the first thing I said to you both, or one or the other, was hire an EOS implementation coach. And to your credit, and I believe this is correct, you and Ryan did do that in the early stages, if not still, but you had somebody to help you work through it, because what me and Peter learned is we needed a mediator between us. We weren't fighting, but we weren't constructive getting to solutions and documenting what we needed to go through the process. And I remember you saying, you know, like, thank you very much. And then, you know, seeing Ryan on some of his speaking stuff in some of our masterminds, or speaking with you one-on-one, and you said, like, we're doing this. And again, look at where you are in 3-4 years versus 6, 7, 8 years of painfully doing it. So that's the biggest tidbit I'm going to give to anybody is, you're struggling with figuring out how to implement EOS. Don't take the burden on your own. If you can budget to get an EOS coach or an EOS implementation coach, shout out Jack Porter Smith, because this is what he does now. If you listen to the podcast, Jack is very, very smart with EOS, and he loves the consulting side. But that's exactly what you need, is basically a mediator to help guide you through all of the stages and help you really think about the business the right way, because again, you need an objective lens. We're too close to it to sometimes look at it in black and white.
Oh yeah. Having that outside perspective, that was, you know, Ryan and I would go into, like, because we agree and disagree on a lot of things, but when we get to a point where we're like, okay, is this the right thing to do? Having someone outside of our business was so helpful. And we are still working with a different coach, but we're still working with an EOS coach to help us, because sometimes we run into these to say, well, like, how do we figure this out? So yeah, huge piece to would also highly recommend, because we thought about self-implementation. So we did a bit of a hybrid, right? Working with a coach, us getting homework, and then implementing ourselves. But having someone to help advise us was, I thought, very instrumental, very helpful in getting more momentum, because doing it on your own,
there's only so much time in the day. And when you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go work out, you can't friggin' solve everything, woman.
Yes. So
now let's shift gears for a minute, because EOS is, again, we could do millions of podcasts on EOS and how it applies, but this is the Angry Ops Guy podcast, and we're not here to just, give resources. We're here to spit rage and, be disgruntled.
We gotta get a little angry around here.
Yeah, but I love how you're like, I love what I do, and this is my passion, and I found where I'm going to go. And I'm like, yeah, just wait till you get to 17 years. You'll be jaded too. Just need a few more years of, being worn down by operations. No, but let's flip the script. What do you hate about ops? What drives you nuts? Because again, you grew up in ops, and that's why I think you're able to be in the role you are now. Is true integrators grow up in the trenches of all the different levels of technology and account management and project management and clients, and working on stuff that then the growing pain is learning the business operations side, but you know how to talk the language of the trenches. So in your kind of retrospect or your reflections of, operations when you were deep in it, and you're still in it because we always are, what drives you nuts? And spew a little venom here, because otherwise I'm going to have a new moniker for this podcast.
I know. I feel like you're going to hate my answer, because I mean, you know me, I'm like, I don't get very angry. So, because again, I see things, of course, yes, there's things where I get frustrated, I get upset.
Okay, you're not an angry person. You live in the California sun. Everything is amazing. Heavy vitamin D. Never have minus 30 Celsius weather. But what frustrates you in ops to no end? I would love to know that.
I guess something that is frustrating is when we have, again, because the discipline, the systems, the way we're wired, when we do get those things that happen that is out of process, out of system, things are being done and people aren't following, I guess, the system that we know works. So that could be quite frustrating. I will say, though, that when that happens, I'm always going to evaluate and going to question, is the system we have in place the best, or is there an opportunity to improve? So that's where, again, I feel like you're not going to like my answer, because while I get frustrated, I want to, from a leadership perspective, not be stubborn and say, well, this system works always, so what you did was wrong. So I try and balance that between, this is why we have systems in place, this is why we have processes, and this is why we should be following them, because when we're out of process, now this is what happens, which does happen all the time. We have a client escalation, a complaint, we backtrack, and it all started likely because something happened out of process. So that can be that's
probably the worst answer I've ever heard, and you're never coming back on the podcast again.
I know,
because this just shows how much mentally stronger you are overall than I am. Number two, the right answer to the question was, what frustrates you the most? Ryan Kelly. You should have just said that right away. Payday was last Friday. You can go at him this week. I'll take the flack in the next mastermind. And number three, you've got to be angry about something. A server going down, staff, or whatever else. Tell me that you beat staff with a bat when they don't follow your process. Something. Don't tell me that it's just there's always something better on the other side.
Yeah. Well, we've mentioned this. People management is one of the toughest. So whether that's communicating with, Ryan and I do work closely, obviously, so that we don't always meet eye to eye. So that can be a challenge. The part you'll hate about me is me wanting to say, okay, well, where can I, and this is, again, from books I read, where it's like, I want to make sure that I'm being responsible to say, okay, did I not communicate this clearly? So I'm always looking in the mirror to say, okay, if we're having an issue, if Ryan and I aren't communicating well, where am I not doing the best job in communicating something? Do I need to say it more clearly? Do I need to be, I don't know, whatever it is. But I will say that the people management for sure is the biggest challenge, I have to say. I don't get angry about it, but it's the biggest challenge.
Number one, I have to read more self-help books. Number two, I need to move to California to be in the sun more. And number three, I need to have you as a mentor to mentor me, because These answers are what's going to get you your next raise and also going to get you on stage at the next convention.
I was gonna say
you
get
are
a cute dog, but
woman.
I was gonna say get a cute dog, but you have those, so yeah.
Oh,
That helps too.
You also have a very cute puppy. He
Yeah.
is a sweetheart.
He's the best.
No, but again, all jokes aside, mad respect to how you look at that, because that is the right way to look at it. But again, that comes from who you are and the self work you've done on yourself to grow, that allows you to be a better operations leader. Because you're right, you can blame everybody for the frustrations. You can get frustrated with leadership decisions. You can play the woes me. I do that a lot sometimes in my own head, why this and why that. But you do have to look in the mirror. What am I doing wrong? How can I improve it? There's always a better way to navigate it. And like you said, I think you're always very open to continuing to learn and to grow, right? And whether 75 Strong taught you that or solidified that for you, or just it's wired in your DNA, that's you. And hence why you have the best answer when all I wanted to do was swear and get angry there. But
in all fairness, I used to get angry when people would quit and all these, and it was so like that would happen. But ultimately, again, like I had to, and to your point, was some inner work and reflection to say, did they quit just because they've been here for a few years and maybe it was just their time, and because we know turnover is going to happen, so I'm not expecting everyone to stay here forever. But when there's people that quit and it was shorter than I thought, or all these things that happen, I used to get really, and I, of course, still get frustrated, but I used to get very frustrated and angry or upset. And through working and meeting with mentors or some reflection, I realized, well, you're the one that hired them. So let's start with, were they the right person? Did you not coach them well? Were you not doing your job as a leader to communicate with them? If it was a surprise to you, that's a signal that you should watch, because if you were communicating with them, had an open door with transparency, had really built that relationship and trust with them, they should be talking to you, right? And again, even if you do all those things, you're going to have people who don't do that. So I'm not saying that every time, but that's been a big piece, I would say, in the last probably about 3 years or so, 4 years, where I've really been working on that to make sure we're looking, and it's not just me, right, from a leadership team, that we're looking at ourselves in the mirror to say, hey, if we're having team turnover or things that are happening, like let's start with ourselves and what are we possibly doing wrong and what can we do to improve. So sorry you don't like my answer.
I love your answer. I'm just being a dick like usual, but it's a really good answer, and that's exactly why Ryan had the foresight and the vision, knowing that he found his next person to run his agency as you continue to grow, and he wants to focus on what's important for him and not to have to be everything that he was in his younger years, like many people that are trying to survive franchise ownership. So, well said, lady. And I'm going to have to record that and analyze that for myself. There's some goals. Yes. Maybe I can do 15 strong, as in.
That's why I have to get up so early, and that's where my anger. It's all left out at the gym.
The gym, you bet. That's our theme. Me, and you, and Eric and Denise. Before convention, 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. Got to put the work in, because that you get that out of your mind, and the rest of the day is a little bit easier to navigate, right?
Yeah. I know. I love that. Like when we all get to meet, and it's typically you, Eric, Denise, Neil.
Yep. Don't forget.
Neil. I know there's a handful of others. I know, like us 5 are there at generally around 5, and
Greg Weston's another one that wants to be in there on the spin bike. Marilise and Andrew from Unibit in South Africa, when they're there, they love to come in and work out too. But I call it the core 4 or 5 are us 4, me, you, Eric, Cynthia, Denise, and then Neil comes in there. Only time you ever see Neil wearing glasses is in the morning before he puts his contacts in. But he's at his trim and proper 49 years of age doing chin ups, and I'm sitting there going like, if I try to do a chin up, that whole machine's going to come crashing down on me. So Neil just kills it in life and in agency life. And Neil, I know you listen, and I hope it makes you laugh, but I really despise you more and more every day, sir.
I do have that. I forget who it was. Probably
disrespectful.
Yeah, I have that. What is it? Because I know Eric like does his selfies the way he does them.
Yep.
And I have that picture of the five of us. It's printed on my in my office. It's great.
I love that. I love that photo as well. I have it saved also, and it was one of those good memories of a very odd week of hurricane and weather and people and everything else. But was that one in Punta?
Yeah, that one was the one in a couple years ago.
Oh, there's that one, and we got maybe we got another one. It was me, you, and Neil and somebody else in Mexico. There's a photo I've got that maybe you don't have. I got to send that one to you.
Yeah, it's good times.
But on that, on that note, and with the time we have left, I'd like to give you a few minutes, before I obviously ask about, where people can find you, if they want to follow you or engage, or because it's a couple of minutes about, you in the last few years have really established your own brand, and your name and your brand, and who you are as a figure, as a successful woman, and in business, and kind of almost, I don't want to say motivational speaking. I'm saying that wrong, but like your brand really identified about the positivity and again the discipline and perseverance and everything else, and that was something I saw that you were really focused on before. Obviously, you move up the ladder and it has to be emphasized. But are you still work with that? Is it still a place for you? Because brand establishment, brand building, and social media and how to leverage that for brand is something that I do know that you are passionate about, good at, and something as a kind of a unique selling proposition of you. You mind just sharing a little bit about that, no matter how much you're doing it, but that's a core thing that I've always seen that sticks out from you from just I'm an account manager, I'm an ops manager, is that kind of component.
Yeah, I think part of it is I've always enjoyed, I like doing it. So there was that kind of helped motivate me to build on the branding. I've always believed in, there's branding and then there's marketing. And I firmly believe that part of what anyone should do, regardless of role, is working on your brand. And really it's your digital reputation. And, if you're able to, in the most authentic way, control that and share who you are as a person, not that you have to, but I think it's something that's important. And I knew for me, long term, I wanted to grow in the agency. So I thought big picture, maybe this is something that could help me in that journey. And I also felt like it was part of, you mentioned I'm disciplined doing all these things. It like, I wasn't always like that. And it took a lot of work, and doing this program, this 75 program was helpful. And I never want to keep that a secret. I want to be able to share that, whether that motivates or inspires one person makes me happy. And so whenever I do share those things and I get people commenting or replying or letting me know, hey, I know you've been posting, I never said anything, but like this specific one really helped me. And I've actually been doing it privately. I just never wanted to share. That stuff lights me up. Mm-hmm. And it's something that brings a lot of fulfillment, that if I'm going to have any success, I want to share that with other people because I want them to grow. It's like, if we can all grow and do better, like we're going to have a better, it's a better world. We'll have great individuals. So I think I feel like it's part of my due diligence to want to share that. And then now going into a leadership role, but yeah, I think it's important to develop your thought leadership, to share pieces on that, to share content. I've scaled it down a bit just with time and all that, but I still maintain it as much as I can on a consistency. So whether it was 2-3 posts a week and now it has to be one, I'm always an advocate on be consistent. If it's once a week, great. Just do it once a week. If it's once a month, do it once a month. Do it to what you can, change it as you need to. But yeah, it's something I've always enjoyed, personal branding. That's why I enjoy PR and all those, that strategy as well. And I think it's important as I mentioned, in any role that you're in, but when you're a key player in an organization, be it an owner or not, when you're a key player, I think it's important to be a brand ambassador of your own agency. And that's, again, why I just think it's important to do if you know you want to grow in that organization. I think it's going to help yourself. I think it's going to help the business. I'm always promoting WSI and in my own individual posts, and then doing collaboration posts with the agency. Part of what I want to do is create more brand awareness for the agency and bring that in. So,
and you also did you had a kick-ass speaking engagement at the last convention when we were at Cancun there, which was around brand, because you are one of those people that has established your own personal brand, but tying it back to how to use that for, like I said, whether it's speaking engagements, which is a big theme for people, and selling from the stage. To your point, you are and are in future going to be the face of the agency. And so if you have that brand and it allows you for local networking and other networking or LinkedIn and so forth, it's going to further help you with business opportunities and other things that are going to help fuel the WSI agency and so forth. So this, like I said, that's a unique, and also digital marketing now more than ever, even though we very lightly scratched about AI and digital marketing, and that, I'm going to have you back if you want to come back, if you're not tired of me, is that, brand is more important than ever in the sense of consistency and accuracy, but also tying brand to marketing. So many people just say, well, this is my business and give me a plan to just generate leads or whatever, but you've got to look at the brand, and you have that component in your experience, in your toolkit, to be able to understand brand, help people fill in the gaps about brand, and then now tie it into your true expertise, which is digital marketing. So that's a really unique kind of asset compared to just, I can do PPC, I can do SEO, but really looking at the brand piece.
Yeah, because that's to your point on, sometimes, as we know, one of the biggest challenges is the attribution of how do we make sure this marketing is leading to leads, which is then leading to true business growth. And we could have all the right marketing tactics in place and the best strategy that we are, again, deploying. But if there's a like, you could have a beautiful website, it's conversion optimized, again, optimized PPC campaigns, SEO. But if there's no trust or credibility to your brand, you're not gonna get the leads. So then, like, to your point again, marketing and branding, they have to work. I feel like they're so harmonious; they have to work together. So yeah, it's a piece that I talk about a lot in learning and studying branding from a personal brand perspective, to then to a organization and its brand, and how is that working holistically with the marketing. I think it's a huge piece. It's something I'm still learning about and wanting to delve into more. So, but yeah, I feel like it's a whole conversation around branding, online reputation, authority signals that now that are helping with AI. And again, like, what is it? Trust and credibility is the new currency. Like, that's what's gonna have you be mentioned.
What a mic drop right there. I should stop it right there, but I'm not going to. Well said. And again, please remember when I ask you to come back, to have another chat with me. We focus more on brand and, some of those key things, because it is super powerful. And like I said, with the changing landscape, especially in the search engines and how AI is influencing results and discovery of information and brands, brand entity and brand consistency is more important than ever, and tying them together. So I'm definitely going to refocus on that with you. Now, we only got a few more minutes because your ops is probably on fire and mine definitely is. So we've got to get back to what work is supposed to be. But let's wrap up on a couple of personal things. Cynthia has some news to share, and I've bullied her into sharing it. So let me set it up first and foremost. So, Ryan, if you are listening, which you probably don't, she's actually putting in her resignation.
I'll make him listen. I'll make him listen to this.
So there's the news drop. Okay, Angry Ops guy out. Cynthia's out. See you later. No, I'm just, again, being a dick. But Cynthia is sitting on camera right now, and she looks wonderful, and she is glowing because she has a massive ring light with a 100-watt bulb that's shining on her. And she also thought that she should, make herself look amazing because she thought this was actually going to be video. It's going to go on social media for the brand. I don't do video. But Cynthia, that's all bullshit because I lie through my teeth. And what news do you actually have that I already know, and I am happier than a pig in shit, but I want you to share if you're comfortable?
Oh, yeah. So one of my sort of upcoming challenges will be learning how to delegate some of my tasks as I embrace motherhood and start that new journey. So that's going to be fun. I am pregnant. I hit 6 months this week, it's been already quite an experience. I obviously never understood this idea of enjoying being pregnant. And now I get it, where it's just, taking care of myself, eating healthy, doing what I can to have this baby be born healthy and happy. And it also has shifted my perspective on a lot of things and kind of seeing things in a different lens. And it's something I'm so excited about. My husband and I have, we've been talking about it for a couple of years. And so while there's never a right time, we found that we were in a right place, right time. Very fortunate. We have the support with our team and in place, but that'll be I love working. So taking some time off will be a challenge for me to slow down and delegate, right, to other people. And
might be the best thing for you in your growth trajectory as a career woman is to get that other set of life skills that will allow you to, because that's what every ops manager struggles with, is delegation. And I'm not trying to say it to steal thunder from your announcement, but it's the truth. So good for you for already starting to realize how you're changing and how you're looking at things. I think it's going to make you an even better chief operating officer when you come back full throttle.
Yeah, it'll be amazing. So we're excited for that this year. It's makes me sad to miss convention that's coming up in June, but I will be there in spirit, and probably the best reason to miss.
Don't worry. We'll FaceTime you. Don't worry. Hey, Cynthia, what's going on? Hey guys, just, here breastfeeding. No problem. This is what you're missing. Don't worry. I got you. I can't 5 a.m. you from the gym saying, hey buddy, how are you doing? Because that's 2 a.m. California time. And you're like, sorry.
I do sleep at 2 a.m. I'm still sleeping at that time.
I'm going to say, and also you're not going to be doing, but of course we're going to FaceTime. You're kidding me? You're not there in spirit. You're there. We're just going to connect you, and we've got the technology to do it. So we'll make sure you're still there hanging out with the hooligans. Don't worry. I'm so, you shared that with me only a few weeks ago when we had a private little session, and again, my face dropped on the camera because I wasn't expecting that. I thought you were just like, hi, Mike, I want to have an ops question. You're like, bam. But I'm so happy for you and your husband, Chad. Next chapter for you guys. And isn't it interesting that, let's go around kind of the WSI ecosystem for a minute. And I'm just going to pick on three of what I call the powerhouse ladies. Christina Pilarski, ops boss, agency boss, mother of twins, kicking ass and taking names. Denise Bowen, a newer mother in the last year or so with her beautiful boy, kicking ass, running an agency. Now there's you. So here, for every agency owner that's listening to this, don't hire a fat, disgruntled grunt like me to run ops. Go find yourself a powerhouse woman that is, the mama bear at home and is going to be the ass kicker of your agency, because those are three pretty elite women that are driving digital marketing agencies forward. And at the end of this podcast, me and you will stand up on camera and you'll show your petite frame that barely looks like you're pregnant, and I'll show you my stomach, and you're going to be like, how far along are you? And I'm like, God damn it, Doritos.
It's the Doritos.
That's what I did. That's what I did to Denise in Mexico. She comes out and she looks amazing.
I know.
We were there together, right? And she looks amazing in her, maternity swim over thing or whatever else. And she sits down, everybody's, oh, how far along are you? And whatever else. And asshole behind her, me, I'm sitting there and I stick my already bulging barrel in the front out. And I said, thanks guys. I'm about 7.5 months out. And they're just like, you're an idiot. And she's like, you're an idiot. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm an idiot. So no, but I'm just so happy for you in this next chapter. I'm glad you're healthy and baby's healthy. And before you know it, we're going to have another WSI minion here to teach about why not to get into ops. Maybe baby to be will adopt their father's career and can take over the chiropractic practice because nobody needs to get into ops.
Doesn't need to be an ops. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up here, Cynthia, because you got to go and I got to go, and I've loved talking to you. It's amazing how fast an hour goes. Would you mind just letting people know where they can find you on any relevant social media platforms? Obviously, Ryan's WSI Smart Marketing's website and so forth. Little plugs before we get out of here.
Yeah, we got our website, wsismartmarketing.com, and then I'm on, all the major ones, mostly Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, but Instagram and LinkedIn where I'm most active. Just at Cynthia Mordecai, and I'm there.
There you go.
Always sharing my little golden retriever. So, yeah, if you want to see a cute puppy, follow me.
Cynthia and Chad have the cutest dog. I have seen him on photos, and I live vicariously on Instagram just watching when she posts, and I'm always like, look at that sweet man and whatever. And she's like, he is the kindest soul you have ever seen. If you think Cynthia is upbeat in the California sun, you got to see this dog, because he is like her spirit animal of like a twin in another life. You guys are a tag team, and he is a precious man. Oh, I want to squeeze him.
He's down there. He's got the sweetest eyes. He's still a puppy. He's 1.5 years, so I always call him it's just a baby.
Shout out Maverick.
I know, yeah. Golden retrievers are the best. So shout out to Eric also on his goldens. So yeah.
You bet. All right. So we got to wrap up because we got to get back to ops, but we'll be back with new guests in upcoming weeks, and we'll be dropping new episodes. So you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn, AngryOpsGuy_WSI. I'm Ops Mike. Cynthia, thanks so much for coming on and spending some time with me.
Yeah, good to see you. I'll try to be more angry next time.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry, Ops Mike, your email went to junk.